Alright, fantastic. Yeah, the icon on Discord wasn't lighting up. Anyway, apologies for that. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Tonight we have a race between sashoboss and OK Beamer. And if you're joining us from the States, it's probably super early or super late. But I think sashoboss is in Australia and OK Beamer is European. I think German, perhaps. He had a race stream on SpeedGaming Deutsch last week, which was pretty cool to watch. And we've got a start at the top of Red Tower. This is random start, which oftentimes is pretty quick to get started without the first minute or two of traversing down into Criteria. Looks like we've already got both of our runners going in different directions. Croc transition at the top, it looks like, for Beamer. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the settings that they've chosen for tonight's race. So, looks like we've got full countdown, full area, vanilla boss, hard difficulty, vanilla escape, early morph, and shallow start. And sashoboss also checks the transition, finds Croc, decides not to tackle that quite yet. And we've got another transition check in the middle of Red Tower, and it is the Lower Norfair exit. So not much they can do so far. So you've also got one major in Red Prince Star. Don't know that they can really check much so far. Spazer, of course, being super locked. So probably end up heading down to the transition around Norfair. Ooh, we've got a meme route transition there. There is also the other transition above. Normally leads to Crab Hole. Let's see what we've got there. All right, and that leads to Moat, where we've got our Morph Ball. Fantastic. It looks like sashoboss is also going to be fighting that soon as well. Yeah, randomizing the start can have a pretty big impact on what's available and how quickly the seed goes down at the beginning. That Red Tower start really doesn't have much available to it. And it looks like at this point they've made their way into Criteria and are heading back down for some of the checks that are typically pretty open at the start. All right, so we'll get a check of the Morph Pedestal. We've got first PBs. Since they've already seen the transition for Meme Route, I imagine we might get a check of the item here, but they probably, unless if the, okay, we've got Wave. Yeah, not needing to go the rest of the way for that transition. And sashoboss right on Beamer's heels. Also gets his first PBs. And we've got an E-tank at Alpha Missiles. It's one trait we've been noticing a lot with full countdown is oftentimes a lack of E-tanks, so always happy to see those early on. Oh, one consequence of the miners that they're currently equipped with is they don't have any missiles or supers for getting through that red door into the rest of Blue Grin. And we've got supers at Old Mother Brain. Could potentially see heading back down, but at this point, probably not worth it. Oh, actually, yes. Let's see, with the 3 power bombs, I think that should be enough to get in and out of Billy Mays. Otherwise, that would just be going back for those 2 checks. Which we've got standard missiles up in the ceiling item. And sashoboss is also electing to go back down and check these. And hey, look at that, more power bombs. So they should be safe for the rest of the checks down here. And yes, that is a good number of power bombs to get through gauntlets. Still a little bit scant on the E-tanks, but shouldn't be too much trouble. And we've got super missiles and regular missiles up at Billy Mays. So far, no sign of the other 2 majors in Criteria. And from here, just heading back out. Yeah, oftentimes with the random start, it seems like oftentimes the logic of the seed just kind of naturally gravitates back towards Criteria. There's not a lot open, even with starting out in a different location. Just there's certain fundamentals that the seed kind of expects you to have with morph and just kind of a basic ammo loadout. So not too surprised that both of our runners have kind of ended up following the same route thus far. But they've got a decent amount of minor pickups so far, so they'll be able to check some of these other locations. So 230, we've got an extra pack of super missiles. And Beamer on his way down for the BT check. Still have 2 majors remaining in Criteria. One of the funny things that I've always noticed about like the item counts in Criteria is that it's easy to forget just how many items there are in Criteria. Like there are a lot of early checks to do, a lot of ammo pickup locations this early in the vanilla game. There's Gauntlet, but then like there's even just other locations that are a little bit more far-flung and sometimes easy to forget about, like landing site PBs, moat, things like that. Moat we did already see with the morph pedestal. And so Sasho is picking up the supers at PT. This is going to necessitate a Bomb Chorizo fight, just with the Varia tweaks being on. I'm guessing that's probably why Beamer skipped that, not so much skipping supers, but just not really wanting to spend the extra time to get through that fight. And meanwhile, Beamer is on his way through Gauntlet. Everything going well so far. And route divergence. Looks like Sasho is heading down towards Terminator instead of taking the route through Gauntlet. He does have enough PBs to be able to check the back of Gauntlet location. So with these two remaining items in criteria, good chance that they, at least one of them, could be at back of Gauntlet. So this may end up just requiring some backtracking. Looks like an E-Tank and X-ray scope, so Beamer will be finding those shortly as well. Finding X-ray this early is certainly potentially good if paired with the rest of the items for microwave. I mean, at this point, it's a little early to tell, just with how often Charge likes to show up late, but we'll see. Definitely worth the pickup, especially if you've already gone to the trouble of going all the way through Gauntlet, might as well pick it up. And yeah, the extra E-Tank potentially coming in handy for hell runs. Let's see, the difficulty for the seeds was hard difficulty, so that can definitely lower the requirements of E-Tanks for hell runs. Oh, that's interesting. We do have a transition check at the kind of the mushroom transition that normally leads to the top of Green Bryn. It looks like it spits out at Green Hill Zone. Not entirely sure why Beamer's turning back. Maybe trying to track down that last item in criteria. And we do also have it looks like a gauntlet run from sashoboss. So he's going to be getting that X-ray scope, but not a lot else here besides the E-Tank. And yes, looks like Beamer is on his way to check one of the other transitions. Alright, so the transition that normally leads down to the top of Red Tower is Kraid's Lair. Unfortunately, and it seems like this is always the case with Kraid's Lair, coming up dry on majors, so maybe checking for some additional minor pickups, but besides that, it looks like this is vanilla boss though, so he will be able to kill Kraid with this particular foray into Kraid's lair. So no saves, just heading straight in. And yeah, sashoboss also got the just halfway through Gauntlet and then just reset out of it. I mean, especially already knowing that the back of Gauntlet just has the X-ray scope, not bothering to traverse the rest of it. And we do have a prom dance for Kraid on Beamer's side. And Kraid goes down. But meanwhile, sashoboss is also entering the Kraid fight. Let's see if he's able to get the quick kill. Oh, so close. Just one super shy. Had the mouth locked open, but... And one missile finishes Kraid off on sashoboss's side. He's not bothering to check the item in the back, which I think was just missiles. And both runners on their way out of Kraid's hideout. Always nice to get something like this done early. With these sort of dead-end locations. Nice to not have to worry about like tracking down this transition or finding this transition in a really gross location. This is also one of the benefits of Vanilla Boss, is just knowing that after you've killed Kraid, you can check the Kraid's locker item on your way out. In this case, it didn't really matter since it was zero majors in Kraid's area anyway, but nice to get the ammo pickup. And it looks like both runners attempting CWJ back over the moat should get them back to the area of the game where they started, just so that they can kind of pick up some of those checks that they didn't have the equipment for the first time around. Ah, so close. This legendary double frame perfect trick, I believe it is. Not an easy task. And Beamer gets it. Excellent. But man, routing-wise, this has had a lot of overlap. There's been some slight divergence so far, but the fact that they've both been making these CWJ attempts at the same time, like we absolutely have a race. Both have similar loadouts, pretty similar ammo counts. And sashoboss also gets the CWJ, is back over the moat, and back into Red Tower, where they can start checking some of these other items. Looks like it was just an E-tank at the Spazer location. And yeah, nothing to be done for X-ray for the moment. Looks like there is the D-boost, but it's not a trick for the faint of heart. We do still have that one outlying major, so good chance it'll be at the top of Red Tower. There's 3 checks up top, so could be finding that here shortly. Yeah, I'm not sure if the X-ray check is in logic with these difficulty settings, especially lacking high jump. I don't know if it takes any kind of like backup contingencies into account. There is the possibility to use bombs as a backup, which they just find at Alpha PBs, although that is the one major in Red Bryn, so that's really all that needs to be looked for here. Getting a check of the back of Alpha BBs for another energy tank. Yeah, bombs could certainly serve as a pretty decent backup for the X-ray check. There's the initial deboost with the waivers to get into the spikes, but from there, like that part's decently tricky. Once you're on the spikes, like you can kind of set up a rhythm of taking damage from the waivers in order to mitigate the damage from the spikes. But there is also that other deboost at the end to contend with, and bombs definitely helps as a backup for that, for using the IPJ to get up to the platform. And we're trying to scope out the item at the maze and wreck ship. Looked like it was just missiles, I believe. Looks like he's also electing not to do anything more in wreck ship. Or it could potentially just be going up to check this transition. Although I believe, yeah, I think we've already seen this transition. I think this was Croc. So they do have ammo to take on this Croc fight. 20 supers good loadout for getting him pushed back decently well. We do also have 2 majors in Croc, so this could be a good spot to track down some decent items. No Varia, but not really anything in the way of rooms with heat damage down here. And those 4 E-tanks also make it an easy job to just tank the damage of the acid to get over to the item behind Croc, which Beamer's about to check. It's high jump boots. Nice. And we also have a Croc fight from sashoboss, so they are basically neck and neck at this point. And sashoboss also gets those high jump boots. And yeah, the bombs are definitely nice to have going into Croc. Ooh, nice. The high jump boots serving OK Beamer really well to get up to the Croc PB's location. But for some of the other locations here, bombs are good for IBJ. It's slow, but since you're here and we do still have the one outstanding major, that'll be good to have that for the grapple check or the Indiana Jones location. Looks like Beamer's electing to go back through the green gate, check the grapple location from the back. And we get PBs at the grapple location. And yeah, for this logic, the majors does not include minors. It doesn't have the same set as major minor, I believe. And hey, look at that! We've got gravity suit at the. Oh my gosh! And Junie's gonna kill me for forgetting which of the two it is. Whether it's sine or cosine, I can't remember. It's the room in Croc's area that looks like a graph. We'll go with that one. But yeah, sashoboss is the first to find gravity. Beamer choosing to take the backdoor route to the grapple location. Only finds PBs and energy. He will find the gravity suit on his way out. Just costs him a little bit extra time. I mean, really, that honestly could have gone either of 2 ways. It just kind of depends more on the randomness of the location of the items. I mean, I absolutely don't fault him for doing that just to avoid the potential of needing to do a pair of IBJs in the Indiana Jones room. But in this case, it just worked out better for Sasha Boss to do that check first. So with this gravity suit, looks like Sasha Boss is heading into wrecked ship and finds space jump at the lake or ocean item. Never really was quite sure if this body of water was small enough to be a lake or big enough to be an ocean. And yeah, also with the bosses not being randomized, this will be nice that they'll just be able to head down and take out Fantoon and clear out the rest of whatever they need to do in Wreck Ship. Not sure how much we'll see of that, of Wreck Ship, given that only having 2 majors total and they've already found one. I mean, they could even find the second one here. Now it looks like that's an energy tank, but with only one more major to find in Wreck Ship, hopefully they'll find that before needing to do any of the slower checks in Wreck Ship, but, you know, rando gonna rando. Wreck Ship is always a bit of a thorny situation, potentially, but we'll see. And Beamer also gets a space jump. And yeah, this is a healthy number of E-Tanks for a full countdown seed, being quite generous. This is the kind of E-Tank situation that I would feel a lot more comfortable with some of these boss fights. It's something I always run into with full countdown. It's like clearing kind of the Brinstar criteria areas and like just kind of dipping your toe into Norfair and kind of getting some of the items you need for exploring some of the next areas, but then you're like, wait a second, what about the E-Tanks? I don't really have enough for the bosses that I want to kill. Oh, and we're also getting this is a really clever play from OK Beamer to be checking the right side E-Tank location, with this one being available even with the ship powered down with the various tweaks on in this tournament. That does avoid the need to take damage from spikes and Spiky Room of Death. Unfortunately, it only has a missile pack, so didn't really pay off. Meanwhile, Sasha Boss gets Fantoon taken down. Nice and easy. Oh, yeah, where did that speed come from? That was a misclick. This is what I get for signing up to simultaneously track and calm the same race. They both start with the letters SP and they're right next to each other on the tracker. That's my excuse. All right, and Beamer heading into Fantoon as well. Meanwhile, Sasha Boss getting started on the item checks in Wrecked Ship. Left side was a dud, right side is also a dud. This could potentially give him a good chance to get caught up on some of his ammo counts. He was a little bit behind Beamer on that for a bit. Still only on 10 PBs, but they do have morph bombs, which will be great, especially to have that this early in the seed, to not have to worry quite as much about staying on top of your PB counts. It could be a little bit quicker sometimes for some of the bomb jumps, things like that. So that will come in handy. And we are also going to get a right side E-Tank check from Sasha Boss with that save. And Beamer takes down Fantoon. Nicely done. And yeah, we immediately get a reset from sashoboss after seeing that missile pack. Not worth the travel back from that room. So it looks like position-wise they're pretty close, but Beamer does still have these two checks just outside of Fantoon's room still to make. Nice movement and execution from sashoboss, clearing the room up in the attic. And yeah, of course, like I was saying, it'd be nice if that one remaining major check was somewhere in the bottom half of wreck ship, but yeah, up here in the attic, just an E-tank. You know, it's usually nice to find in full countdown, but sashoboss already on 5 E-tanks, OK Beamer on 6. That's really overkill for them at this point. And yeah, this wreck ship is turning out to be a little bit of a slower set of checks to make, but I mean, both runners basically right on top of each other, both in the attic, right around the same time. Beamer also heading over to check the attic location. He's just going to find yet another E-tank. I'm sure he's going to turn right around once he sees it, unless he's thinking of hell runs potentially. Looks like he's going for it. And sashoboss finds the one remaining major in the wrecked ship. Screw attack up at the Sky Missiles location. Probably just going to bounce at this point. No real point in checking any of the other locations. That screw attack will definitely come in handy for our runners. Not necessarily crucial progression, but they both still have lower Norfair to do, so that will be excellent for making their movement, survivability, and lower Norfair a bit easier, but honestly, with 7 E-tanks, not really anything to worry about for survivability. Alright, so sashoboss, starting up, checking Norfair. We've got 3 majors in upper Norfair. And plenty of E-tanks all around. sashoboss does have a deficit of 2 E-tanks from OK Beamer, so may need a bit more time with doing a few more farms if the various suit doesn't show up soon. Do have good movement items. Space jump will help to some degree, and also screw attack, being able to just plow through the Garuda there. An OK Beamer potentially taking another route. I've already lost track of where most of these transitions are, but OK Beamer down in Red Tower. Ooh, making a Meridia plate looks like. Blasting open the tube with the power bombs. Unless, I guess we haven't necessarily seen these transitions, so this does lead to West Meridia, but not from the direction we're used to. Ooh, and we get a death from sashoboss coming out of Norfair Reserve. I'm almost sure he took a save right outside there, so not really much lost there. I think there was a either a vanilla or a French vanilla reserve tank on that side, but Nothing really to write home about. Meanwhile, OK Beamer making his way down through West Meridia from the top. We've got one major here in West Meridia. Didn't look like there was anything at Crab Supers, but we've got a Mama Turtle check up next. And missiles up top and PBs in the wall. Meanwhile, sashoboss on his way into the speed location. Ooh. Definitely paying off for him. Finds charge outside of speed. And ice right next to it. A 2-pack of beams at the speed location. Excellent set of finds. So that's 2 out of the 3 majors in Upper Norfair. Meanwhile, West Meridia coming up dry for OK Beamer. He is going to check the crab hole transition. Ooh, sashoboss just barely making... Oh boy, barely making it to the bug vent in time. Alarm starting to go off. Turns off ice. So desperate for getting those bugs killed as fast as possible for that farm. Yeah, this is always one of the dicier farm spots. Oh boy, it definitely gives you a decent number of enemies and a decent number of drops, but the rooms on either side can be pretty brutal sometimes. Meanwhile, Beamer making his way up to beach location. Still on a hunt for that one major check here in West Meridia. Finds another E-Tank. So I think that's into the second row of E-Tanks. Could definitely be making some plans for some hell runs in the future. Without necessarily knowing when you're going to find Varia, still no sign of it thus far. Alright, and we've got Spring Ball at the watering hole, so that is the one and only major in West Meridia. Always a find that you're happy to see, but doesn't necessarily translate that much to progression. So with the amount of time spent in West Meridia, that's a pretty costly Spring Ball. Alright, and OK Beamer checking transition to East Meridia, and finds the exit out of Warehouse. So we do also have this other transition at the top of the elevator, and that leads straight into East Meridia, so kind of a French vanilla set of transitions there. Translates decently well. Let's see, we've got one major here in East Meridia. Maybe looking to... Okay, so looking to do the snail clip up to the aqueduct items. Looks like he's using, or attempting to use X-ray to maybe just try to time out the frames for that snail. And looking like he's bailing and just taking a save. Meanwhile, sashoboss, continuing with some of these hell runs in Norfair, finds the transition to Forgotten Highway at the Lava Dive transition. Not really useful at all at this point. They've already done everything they need to do in Wreck Ship. Ooh, nice. OK Beamer getting a rather unconventional snail clip through the kind of the outside of where you normally see that done. Very nicely done. Yeah, I'm not sure if the snail clip is in logic. I haven't really looked that much at the hard mode settings. I myself have been sticking with medium in this tournament, which honestly is one of the great things about the Choozo tournament, just giving us all the option to really get these seeds kind of catered more to our skill sets. But yeah, okay, so sashoboss checking the... Ooh, look at that. That is an ugly place for Varia to be hiding. Croc escape item. Pretty deep into these hell runs. There is definitely the nice kind of waypoint for these hell runs with the Nutella refill down by Croc. So not the worst set of hell runs to do to get that various suit, but definitely not the kind of place you would expect to see that. Like even though it's kind of right there out in the open, like normally when you're kind of scoping it out, it's kind of out there front and center at the down at the bottom of Business Center, usually pretty easily accessible. But for the access to Norfair that we've had in this seed, coming from the other direction wasn't really the kind of thing that they were able to scope out. So it really was pretty deep into Nordfair. sashoboss had to clear out a decent amount of the rest of the region before finding that. And he does find another E-tank at... oh, forgive me, I'm forgetting the name of this location. The one just outside jail. But that brings him up to 6 E-tanks. Not quite as concerned with E-tank count now that he has the Varia, but still always comfy to have. Does have the Ridley fight coming up, and only has 25 supers. Has a decent number of missiles, and also has charge ice waves, so that'll make for a perfectly doable Ridley fight at this stage. But yeah, that is go mode for sashoboss. Wouldn't be surprised to see additional major checks along the way, just in case something like Plasma is right along the way. I mean, here he's checking the Fireflea's location. This is a location that I usually check if I'm still missing one of the comfort items, like Plasma or something like that. But yeah, OK Beamer does spot the various suits from the other direction. Unfortunately, that gate is not one that we're able to reverse gate glitch through. He does have, with those 8 E-tanks, he's going to have a really easy time making his way through Cathedral, but that is a pretty decent bit of backtracking to have to go through here. It's also, I mean, let's see, he is still missing charge. So yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's heading down, going to be taking the route past Croc to get that various suit. And yeah, that's anyone's guess. If he's gonna continue making checks in Upper Norfair, it still has a decent number of items. Doesn't have charge or ice. Oh, and also checking that transition, and finds the Lower Norfair escape. So yeah, if he doesn't choose to continue with those Upper Norfair checks, he could potentially head straight down into Lower Norfair. His ammo's a little scary to be doing that without charge, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's only taking this Varia in order to make the rest of the checks in Upper Norfair a little bit more comfortable. And we are seeing him firing off a super into the gates, so it looks like he's at least interested in other checks somewhere else besides Lower Norfair. Probably the better play here at this point. But man, this reroute having to go back through Cathedral is rough. But sashoboss dropping into the Ridley fight. So yeah, OK Beamer making the Bubble Mountain checks. Starting with Norfair Reserve, unfortunately that's not really going to pay off terribly well. He does have the various suits, so whatever he finds here he can keep, but it's not necessarily worth keeping, especially with more E-tanks than he needs at this point. Yeah, not interested in the reserve. Alright, and Ridley goes down for sashoboss. So yeah, this puts sashoboss probably in a pretty decent lead at this point. He's not necessarily a full Lower Norfair, but half a Lower Norfair and a boss fight ahead of OK Beamer. I don't know for sure if he's scoped out the any of the Meridia transitions. They do seem to kind of be feeding into each other a little bit with that that sort of French vanilla transition between West and East Meridia. So we haven't really seen as many of them from other directions. But even if he hasn't scoped out that transition, I mean, he's seen a decent number of transitions otherwise thus far, and can probably deduce where it's going to be. But meanwhile, OK Beamer gets his charge beam at the location just outside Speed, and he's also going to finish up with this spot and finds Ice Beam. Meanwhile, I'm slacking on my tracker duties there. Yeah, looking at their loadouts, more or less have the same set of items, just minus the extra spring ball that Beamer found in Meridia. sashoboss still on a little bit less ammo, but with charge, that's not going to be quite as much of a factor going for Mother Brain. Could potentially still be seeing some additional checks from him as he heads out. It looks like there's... Oh, actually, maybe not. So he is not checking the Franker Z location. Yeah, 2 additional checks still left in Norfair, but yeah, especially if there's nothing at Franker Z, decent chance that those 2 items are 2 of the out of the 3 checks over by GT. I don't think we saw a Mickey Mouse check. Apologies to Disney. Yes, I'm going to call it by that name. But yeah, it looks like at this point he's heading out through Business Center. Yeah, my memory is a little bit rusty on the transitions. Have we seen Turian yet? Question for chat. I don't recall seeing it, but then again, it is a pretty quick in and out turnaround when it is found early in area rando. And yeah, OK Beamer skipping that Fire Fleece check. probably wise, you know, chasing sashoboss's heels at this point. Oh, actually, so I'm just now realizing with sashoboss's routing, exiting Norfair through Business Center, this has kind of been, even though, as I recall, this was full area rando, but this has almost felt a little bit like a light area. So like a lot of the Norfair transitions between Upper and Lower Norfair have kind of been amongst Norfair, and then the Meridia transitions have kind of been similar. So what's interesting about this is just kind of with a quirk of the top of the Business Center elevator being sort of a hub between East and West Meridia. Like when you're going from West to East Meridia through that transition, it's like, oh, this is cute. Like there's an extra room in between these transitions. But with sashoboss's routing, leaving Norfair through Business Center, it looks like that kind of put him right in the middle. And that allowed him to kind of bypass West Meridia entirely and dive straight into East Meridia. So that, like, just really kind of widens the lead between the two. Okay, so getting confirmation from chat, it sounds like we have not seen Turian so far. Green Bryn Elevator. Let's see, I think we've seen the transition from the top direction. The mushroom room in Criteria. I want to say that was something like the Upper Norfair exit or something like that. Or let's see. Yeah, we do also. We haven't seen the transition out of East Meridia into Forgotten Highway, which I believe Turian was in that transition in one of the recent races, so that could potentially show up there. Not the nicest place for it to show up, but you know, again, rando gonna rando. And meanwhile, Sashoboss entering the Dragon fight right as OK Beamer is finishing off Ridley. It looks like we'll get a check of the item behind Ridley, which is just missiles. So yeah, still a lot of ground for OK Beamer to cover to catch up. I mean, potentially, if neither of the runners have seen Turian, there could potentially be a fair amount of divergence in the hunt to find that transition, but I want to say, I mean, thus far, besides that delve into West Meridia for OK Beamer earlier on, they've largely been following pretty similar routes. The lead has kind of gone a little bit back and forth here and there, but besides that West Meridia, it seems like their routes have largely been similar. So I imagine the ones that they still have left to check are probably going to be pretty similar. So like for Sashoboss, I imagine if he's still looking for Turian, could easily see going up to that East Meridia transition to start there. And I imagine if Beamer's in the same shoes with the transitions he's seen, would probably be doing the same at that point. So I don't know that we'd necessarily be seeing much in the way of route divergence at that point to really make much of a difference. But definitely not over until it's over. But yeah, at this point, Sashoboss has all 4 of the bosses down and is just on a hunt for Turian. Looks like he's choosing not to go for the East Meridia transition, skipping back past that door into Cacatac Alley. Oh, interesting. So if comment in chat that Beamer may have found the Turian transition. That could potentially be a pretty significant game changer if sashoboss ends up needing to burn a particularly significant amount of time looking for it. Oh, actually, that is actually a fair point. So, with Beamer's earlier routing into West Meridia, we see sashoboss going into West Meridia now. Oh, the Forgotten Highway transition. I mean, the location where Forgotten Highway itself, I definitely recall seeing, but I don't know the elevator itself that leads up there. I don't know that we've seen that yet. And we are seeing some item checks from sashoboss at this point, so probably thinking about that beam loadout, only on charge Ice Wave. Does have 30 supers, and with Ice being able to do Ice Zeb Skip, he is in a pretty decent position with ammo for doing a sizable chunk of damage to Mother Brain before having to resort to charge. Oh yeah, so that was actually what I was going to mention. So OK Beamer would have already scoped out that transition down here in West Meridia. Actually, I believe both of these transitions he's already seen. So sashoboss having to kind of go through some of this other traversal. Oh, interesting. So Lava Dive. I don't think there's any transitions still left down in Lower Norfair that they would potentially need to check. That's something that I often forget about with area rando. Like, oftentimes what ends up happening is you kind of end up backdooring Lower Norfair, and then you kill Ridley, and it's like, hey, wait a second, there is that transition with the Lava Dive. And I've seen some pretty gross transitions at that location. That can lead to some pretty rough routing and expectations on the player. So yeah, sashoboss heading out at the top of West Meridia, which spits out at the tube. So yeah, the Green Bryn elevator potentially looking like a likely candidate. Which, yeah, if that's the case, pretty rough. We haven't seen Brinstar for a while. Hopefully these runners have kept better track of where the transitions to it are than I have. But yeah, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've seen basically any of green or pink Bryn for this entire seed. There was a lot that went down in Criteria, but from there it pretty much ended up going into the rest of the game. Apparently nothing all that critical was in green and pink Bryn, but not really necessarily that common to see a seed that allows you to skip both. Oh, and we do still have a couple of majors in Criteria. Ooh, okay, so sashoboss finds Spacer, almost turns around, then realizes, yes, that is a beam. Now, if you're on a hunt for just a little bit more firepower for Mother Brain, that is going to contribute to that. Not exactly the beam that he wanted, but Oh, okay. So if they poked their head into Green Brinstar and saw the Zero Majors, that explains the turnaround. Okay. So yeah, and oh, it definitely makes sense. I wouldn't blame either one of them for not checking the Green Brinstar elevator. Having to traverse that entire region just for the knowledge of that transition, that'd be rough. But yeah, Sasha Boss heading down through Criteria, um, ending up at the bottom of Green Hill. I think the transition just to the left through the Mushroom Room is a little bit closer. I think it's the one that's still in Green Hill. That's the one that spits out from Meme Route. So saves him a room or two. Meanwhile, OK Beamer also done with his 4 bosses, on his way out of Meridia. Yeah, this is looking more and more likely the outcome that they need. All right, fingers crossed. All right, and by process of elimination, we have found Turian. And Sasha Boss is the first to take the elevator, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 32 seconds. Yeah, Sasha Boss sitting on a few more supers. Could potentially see him already doing the math and heading straight to Turian from here instead of making some of those extra item checks, but probably at this point not enough to make up for lost time to catch up to Sasha Boss. Man, still no speed booster found in the seed either. Gotta wonder where that was. Just a few little inconveniences with this route back to Turian. Sasha Boss having to use Screw Attack to get through the wall in Pink Bryn. OK Beamer having to do the same to get through the cliff in Criteria. I believe in East Meridia there might still have been one outlying check. Could potentially have a vanilla plasma situation. Could have been speed there. Then we did also have those 2 majors left down in Lower Norfair. Alright, and Sasha Boss taking the refill after the encounter with the baby. Oh, a brief check of a item location from Beamer may still be wanting to find supers. Just a quick check of that big pink location. Don't imagine we'll see much else in the way of checks from here on out. Ooh, Sasha Boss getting the Zeb skip was a little nervous. He still has Screw Attack on. I wonder if that was the down back variant of the Zeb skip. Alright, sashoboss taking down Mother Brain 1, heading into the Mother Brain 2 fight, electing to burn all of his supers right off the bat. Only had 16 going into the phase, not choosing to hold off on those 15 for the catch-up phase. Oh, actually, holding off on the standard missiles. So switching to charge. Meanwhile, OK Beamer making his way through the Metroid rooms, making quick work of the Metroids. Nice clean movement with that ice beam. Alright, and ketchup is out. And yeah, downside to all of those glorious E-tanks that the seat offered is, excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. Having to damage down a little bit for, before the baby, just so many E-tanks in this seed. Alright, and sashoboss into the cutscene between Mother Brain 2 and 3, as OK Beamer has passed the baby. Yes, fed the baby with all of those E-tanks, although did take a lot of damage from that side hopper, so wasn't quite the feeding frenzy that could have been otherwise. Yeah, OK Beamer into the Sebetite room. I think that might also, yes, also gets the down back sub skip, I believe. Right as Mother Brain gets the kill shot on the baby. But we do have two Mother Brains on screen at the same time. Beamer getting through Phase 1 as sashoboss is finishing up Phase 3 with the Hyper Beam. So yeah, absolutely props to Beamer for definitely closing the gap, catching up a decent way with the with that lead that sashoboss had coming out of Lower Norfair. We're also all that exploration that sashoboss had to do for those transitions that Beamer didn't need to do, having already done West Meridia. And yes, neither runner having speed, they are going to have to traverse this little maze in the escape, getting to Leodoc's room. And yeah, one of the benefits of the that I'm realizing of that down back sub skip is being able to leave Screw Attack on. I always like having it on for Leodoc's room, just for some of those pirates if they just start to heck you up, especially with that first ascent. Alright, and also without speed, sashoboss having to make a climb up the climb shaft, getting a nice series of wall jumps up the right side into the parlor. Right as Looks like Beamer is about to trigger the phase transition between Mother Brain 2 and 3. But for now, get your GGs in chat. We have our winner of this race, sashoboss, with a final time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 38 seconds. Be right back, doing late sign up, comment from Nifty in chat. Glad that don't really have any openings in the bracket at this point as far as I know, because Nifty, what a daunting opponent to have to go up against. I did kind of have to say as I was seeing that bracket, wow, glad I don't have to go up against Nifty in this tournament. It'd be a little bit comfier time for me in my first race tournaments, but hello Nifty, always happy to have a reigning champion in chat. Beat it, screw. Oh my goodness, I was wondering about that. Plasmet Shack, of course. Where was Grapple? Oh, and we also have Zeb in chat. Absolutely top tier runners joining us here tonight for this race. Grapple at GT. Okay, so yeah, GT had the two majors in Lower Norfair. Sep's less scary, don't worry. Alright, and get the rest of your GGs in chat. OK Beamer finishes with a final time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 17 seconds. Fantastic runs all around. Excellent, excellent race from both of our runners. Not sure if we will get interviews. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely happy to commentate. It looks like we've got OK Beamer down in the setup room on his way in. Hello Beamer, how's it going? GG. least I think we have Beamer in chat. Hello, Beamer.
Hey, this is Beamer. Hey.
Hey, how's it going? My mic has been giving me some odd issues with the voice trigger tonight, I think, or I don't know. It seems like something weird is going on. But hello, how's it going?
Oh, it's going well enough. So GG's to Sasho. I think I know why I didn't win this. Couple of things probably.
Let's hear your guess on that.
Getting very late and doing those stupid East Meridia checks. Probably a combination out of those.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered the East Meridia. So what I was guessing most likely for the route diversions, because your routes were pretty similar, up until like wrecked ship and such. I think the big route divergence is that from there, sashoboss took the massive amount of E-tanks that this seed bestowed on you and went into Norfair to start doing hell runs of... Oh, actually, hold on. sashoboss asking for a SG invite. I thought it normally sends those out automatically, but let me see if I can get that set up for him. Let's see. Oh, good lord. Not knowing my way around Discord.
I think I sent an invite.
Oh, okay, perfect. But yeah, so sashoboss started doing hell runs through Upper Norfair. It was fairly slow. He did find ice and charge, but basically ended up doing most of Upper Norfair. I think during that time was when you were doing the West Meridia checks, which also came up pretty dry. There was that one major, and it ended up being all the way up at Watering Hole and was just Spring Ball. What was interesting, though, is towards the end, that route diversions kind of started to have a little bit more convergence as far as the time involved for both of you, where sashoboss ended up, because he hadn't seen all of the West Meridia transitions, ended up needing to take a little bit more time to check some of those transitions, and at the same time is also kind of scooping up some additional item checks, probably looking for beams, I imagine. But yeah, looks like we are also joined by sashoboss. GG's, Sasho. How's it going?
GG's,
Yo,
man.
GG's, what's going on?
Not much.
Yeah, that felt pretty good. Basically skipping all of Meridia, until I'd beaten all 4 bosses was really nice. Knowing that I had to find Tyrion. Finding the lava dive portal in Meridia was really nice because it meant that Tyrion was 100% at Green Bryn, which is so interesting. Because at that point, I'm like, I probably don't need to go back to Criteria. Even after I cleared it the first time, I'm like, all right, all of that is gone. I don't have to worry about going back. But yeah, I had to go back anyway.
Yeah, it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, especially I hadn't noticed, but somebody in chat pointed out that Pink Brinstar had 0 majors, so it absolutely makes sense. Like, you check the transitions that dump you into the lower part of Pink Brinstar, you see no majors there, you just kind of turn around. That would not be worth the time to traverse the entire region just to check that one transition at the top of the elevator, and just unfortunately it happened to be Turian. But I think pretty much you both kind of had like a similar, towards the end, like you had everything you needed, you had your 4 bosses down, you had seen similar transitions, and both kind of had to do that same sort of juggling of like, all right, which ones have I seen, which ones haven't I seen? Okay, it's probably there. I was afraid that it was going to be at the elevator in East Meridia, which I think I saw a race recently that had terrain at that location. Which
I had that transition.
Gross.
Couldn't have been there. There was the Main Street in Meridia went there.
Oh,
yeah, I
okay,
think so.
okay. Got it, yeah.
So I had seen everything by the time I went into Lower Norfair.
Yeah.
Before I went in there, I did my last transition check in Upper Norfair that went to backside of Wrecked Ship, so I knew that it could only be top of Green Brinstar.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. The other thing that I found really interesting about the transitions, and I'm not sure if either of you necessarily noticed this, because it kind of came about seeing the way that you both routed a little bit differently with how Meridia went down for the two of you. So, Beamer, you ended up entering West Meridia from the top transition. Full
Yeah.
cleared it looking for the major, and then what was really funny was the transition that normally leads to East Meridia spit you out at the top of the business center elevator, and then it
Yeah.
was just a quick jaunt over to the other transition just a couple feet away.
That's
Where
right,
that
yeah.
that went into, so it's kind of like a French vanilla transition between the two halves of Meridia, which at first seemed really convenient. But it actually turned out to be even more convenient for Sasho on his way out of Lower Norfair. He took the route up Business Center, and that put him right in that spot where he was able to just go straight into East Meridia and bypass West Meridia entirely. Still had to
Wish
do
I
a little
could have
bit of
done
it
that.
later. Yeah, it was a really interesting structure for this area, Rando, and it was interesting in multiple ways. It's really interesting to see how that played out.
Although I did still need to spend time checking the portals in West Meridia, so there was that.
Yes. Yeah, that
I
that
just
came
skipped
up
all the item
later.
check.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That was a point where it seemed like you had a pretty sizable lead at that point once you had your fourth boss taken down. And then there was that realization of like, oh yeah, there are some other transitions that Sasha needs to check at this point. So
Yeah, everything felt good until I had to start looking for Turian.
yeah.
Lots of
Yeah,
exploring.
definitely. But yeah, it was a little daunting at one point. So Sasha, when you were on your way out of Lower Norfair, Beamer I think was still getting Varia up at Upper Norfair and having to. It was an especially gross route to find Varia from the other direction, from the other side of the Green Gate, and having to route through Cathedral twice. So it seemed like at that point, Sasha had a pretty sizable lead. But the fact that we did have two Mother Brains on screen at the same time, just at different ends of the phases of the Mother Brain fight, but definitely a decently close race between the two of you, I gotta say.
Did Beamer have space jump when
Yeah, it did.
looking for Varia?
Yeah, I did.
So you. Oh wait, hold on. You came through the business center side.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
Let me check this. How did I get there? I think that was after my West Meridia clear. Then I went top of Business Center, made the very wrong choice of doing the early East Meridia checks like Aqueduct and Sandpits. And I was contemplating farming up and then crystal flashing into bot rune. I would have done it, but my supers were super low at that point, so I didn't. And then I went into deeper into Business Center and found various suit relatively quickly. I had everything I needed to just right away get it. I was on, I don't know, 8 or 9 E-tanks and had space jump, so that was all fine.
Yeah, after Criteria and Red Bryn, I thought the only way forward was through the Lower Norfair exit portal at Wave, because going through West Meridia I feel like was really risky, especially since I had found about 5 E-tanks. So I'm like, yeah, let's do some L runs first,
Yeah,
and then
our choice.
loop through, check all the portals, and yeah, that ended up working really well because I didn't have to go through Cathedral to get Wave. Varia, I mean.
I guess I did Wrecked Ship earlier than you then as well. I don't know at what point you went to Crocomire for your gravity suit, but I did Wrecked Ship right after that, and so I got my space job. Didn't you not have that?
Oh yeah. I had finished Wreck Ship before Norfair.
All right.
Yeah, that was another.
If I hadn't have done that and found space jump, I probably wouldn't have gone and found Varia. I probably would have gone through Cathedral.
So how much time was there between the two Varia finds?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, with having to traverse Upper Norfair from the sort of the east to west direction, having to full clear Bubble Mountain and such, it took a decent amount of time in Upper Norfair before Sasha found Varia.
Yeah.
And then I think that was probably while you were in one of the sections of Meridia. It wasn't timing wise. I don't know if it was that terribly far apart. That was kind of a part where everything was there was enough divergence that it was kind of hard to tell who was potentially in the lead or not at that point. The other thing that was kind of unfortunate with the and like a very slight bit of route divergence was Croc, because for the most part, basically I'd say for like the first half of the seed, the two of you were mostly neck and neck, just movement wise, execution wise, everything. But there was a unfortunate difference with how Croc was laid out and with the direction that you two took. So I think Beamer, were you the one who went through the green gate and used green gate clutch?
Yeah, I did.
So that ended up sending you down to the grapple location and then like Indiana Jones and such, and was a little bit more of a delay. Whereas sashoboss, that may have been a point where Sasha took a lead, is to just dive straight down to the. And honestly, it was a 50-50 at that point, I would say.
Yeah, I got the high jump boost before, so it could only be one.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking was like it absolutely makes perfect sense, because if you go down the shaft, and again, I can never remember if it's sine or cosine, but if that room was nothing, and then you end up in the room with Indiana Jones and you're faced with a pair of IVJs to get to the items, that I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
So it absolutely made perfect sense. It's just with the luck of the draw with the seed.
And I even IBJ'd all the way up because I wanted that E-tank there.
Oh yeah, of course. Oof. Yeah. Just with how scant E-tanks normally are.
Yeah, that was weird in the seed.
Yeah, and then we get this seed where they're just all over the place. It was a little bit refreshing, but yeah.
I was kind of happy I hadn't to do any farming sessions in Upper Norfair for once.
Yeah, like with those hell runs, there was definitely, oh my gosh, Sasha, I think there was a point where on your way out of speeds, I could hear just the briefest blip of the low health alarm right as you hit the bug farm. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was almost sadness. But and the panicked deactivation of ice to get that farm to go faster.
I was gonna turn off ice eventually sometime just because it slows you down. Also, I was waiting to drop below health bomb range just so we could speed up the farming a bit. Although I think I got all small healths anyway, so it didn't even help that much.
Of course, that's always how it goes.
Look back.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasted so much time though, farming and doing all those checks, but.
Have you ever noticed that farming never gives you what you want? So the other race I was exiting Ridley and I had to do reverse amphitheater. I thought, well, okay, let's just farm a little bit of health here, pre-Ridley. And I got only supers, one after another. And you never get supers when you farm before Ridley. That's so strange.
I was farming for supers before Ridley. I probably did 5 farms and got nothing.
Yeah, that's how it usually plays out.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh, bruh.
Well, I mean, it ultimately ended up paying off for you, sashoboss. Congratulations. Win.
Yeah, GG's, man.
Yeah.
Unbeaten.
GG, man. Feels good, man.
Oh, goodness.
5-0, is Dirksu 5-0 as well?
Nah, it's Nitro who is 5-0.
Oh, Nitro, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, I forgot.
Excellent.
Oof.
Yeah.
Better get practicing then.
Yep. And absolutely impressive scores from you both all around.
I'm very surprised.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I'm not. Not after how this played out.
Yeah, this has definitely been a fun tournament so far all around. A lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to play, a lot of fun to track and commentate.
Yeah, thanks for that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad it worked out. With my usual hours on weekends, days, keeping me up until about this time, if not a little bit later. So glad I was able to help out with comms and tracking this race. But yeah, any other thoughts from you both?
Where was Spazer? I see that
Spazer
on your
was
tracker,
at
Great.
yeah
Criteria power bombs.
Oh,
criteria
okay.
power bombs. One of those last second checks. I'm guessing you were hoping for plasma.
Yeah, or speed.
Oh,
Either would have
yeah.
been fine.
Yeah. I mean, a speed at that point probably wouldn't have done too much. Although I would have gotten baby skip if I had speed.
Oh
Maybe it
yeah.
would have been. I think it would have saved time. It would have been an even time save if it was speed or plasma, but
I honestly
space
think
is
that
still good.
Spazer was worth the investment.
I don't know if I was losing my lead, then it doesn't seem like it.
Nah, you're getting
But
that back in the Mother Brain fight 100%. It's a good damage
uh,
upgrade. It's from 180 to 300, so that's a big upgrade.
hmm, yeah, I guess so, maybe. Oh well, I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch it back.
Yeah, it definitely looked like there was a moment of hesitation with seeing the spacer instead of the plasma, and it's like, nope, I'm gonna go back for that. Does
Yeah,
add
I
that extra.
realized how much of an upgrade that was going to be, so I was like, yeah, low on supers.
Yeah, might as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, enjoy watching this one back. This one was fun to watch, fun to commentate. But yeah, any other final thoughts?
Thanks, you all.
GG's. Thanks for the
Right.
comms in the restream.
Absolutely. Thanks to you both for such an excellent race. Thanks for everybody in chat for hanging out. Let's see, and for our next races tomorrow, looks like we've got 3 races on the docket for tomorrow. We've got a race at 2 p.m. Eastern between Bad at Metroid and Death King 2, a race at 3 p.m. Eastern between myself and Draylen Tankir, and a race at 5 p.m. between Prier 57 and Sasquatch 954. So yeah, join us for any of those if you like. But until then, I've been Stack, and thanks to you both. Thanks to everybody in chat. Have a good night, and we'll see you next mission.